Quantum Conversations, your portal to the inner realms. Access infinite possibilities, infinite mastery, and infinite love. Mind-expanding, heart-opening conversations with some of the greatest spiritual teachers, luminaries, and healers of today's world. Usher in new earth by living in your sacred heart. Quantum Conversations is brought to you by AcousticHealth.com, home of music from the universe, online healing retreats, and this program. Claim your free registration to daily shows at AcousticHealth.com. AcousticHealth.com, your portal to the inner realms. Our program starts shortly. Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. And we are in this quantum realm today with psychic energetic healer Dorian Light. This is very interesting because Dorian is quite an amazing healer. She works with people all around the planet, really liberating us from lower density issues that literally get lodged in our field, and they come from our past lives, our parallel lives, and even this current lifetime. And Dorian is very skilled. She's assisted beings in crossing to the other side, and she's even healed herself. It's an amazing story with Dorian Light, and I welcome back this beautiful being to Quantum Conversations. Dorian, hello. Thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm so excited. Hello, my beautiful friend, and thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I'm so excited about being here. You know, it's just, as that music was playing, Goddess, I was just transported, you know, like I was feeling all this love, and I'm doing this little happy dance.
We're doing a happy dance with you. And everyone who's joining us from around the world, do this happy dance with your heart. Oh,
yeah.
My goodness, we love it. You know, that is, this laughter and this joy is what really brings us into this heart vibration. And I've just got a huge smile on my face because I can feel your energy, Dorian. Hello.
Well, don't they say, you know, laughter is the medicine for the soul? I think one of the most profound sessions I had was with a mother and a daughter, and they were both over in Spain, and I was working with them individually, and we decided to do a group session together because they were very close. Oh my goodness, girl, all we did was joke and laugh, and of course, you know, I'm a multitasker. I can talk my head off and be doing the energy work behind the scenes the whole time. But it was one of the most healing, profound sessions we had. We did this for about 2 hours, and I was absolutely exhausted from the laughter when we got through, and it just switched. I mean, it just switched everything for both of them and in many parts of my life, too. So it was really beautiful. So laughter's essential, isn't it? Being happy, being joyful.
Yes. Right. And so if anyone needs that reminder of, oh, my gosh, how do you get in your heart? Or how do we shift our vibration? How do we raise our vibration? Laughter is the best medicine there. Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's really important. And so I just want to make a comment here because, you know, I work with people all over the world, and many of us have gone through the stage of being in that flat line, what I call that detaching from the human condition. We're all detaching on many levels from all the stories, labels, and identities and you know, things that we've played out so that we can truly empty the cup so we can allow the truth of our own divinity to merge into the body so we can ascend right in the body. And how now, through that, okay, give me a second. Take a breath, everybody. I just had this energy come in, and okay, so there's a sidetrack energy here. I call it a mind sweep program, okay?
Ooh, okay.
And what it does, there's a lot of joy and love here, but it's a mind sweep program that comes in and knocks everybody off track. So the people that are listening many times can just zone out, or some people go to sleep, and sometimes they think, oh, I'm processing at a deeper level, but many times it's not even that. It's a mind sweep program. So I was going to do this anyway before we started, but I want to go ahead and clear that mind sweep program. So everybody take a breath. All right. Okay. Let's get rid of this thing. Okay. Perfect. Now let me gather everybody up, and then we can go back to talking here. Yeah, kisira purodinin aladiri sira pushis and iris. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So for those who are going through the phase of this no man's land where you're detaching, you're losing your reference points from from what you're used to as the human. Remember, we're like a human antenna receiver, and we've always relied on things outside of ourselves to stimulate us. So as we're detaching from all this outside stimuli, we're detaching from the human condition and stepping into that space where we can be this beautiful empty vessel for that beautiful higher consciousness of the truth of our own divinity and the truth of who we are to come in. It's uncomfortable. So get comfortable being uncomfortable, right, was what I was told years ago. And so it can be uncomfortable. So if you're still in that no man's land where there really isn't any joy, and you're hearing someone like Lorena and I talking about, oh, I'm doing a happy dance, and you're going, wait a minute, I don't feel any joy, I feel disconnected, I feel flatlined, I'm not motivated, I don't want to do my work, I don't even want to do anything spiritual. Please understand, you're right where you should be, and congratulations, because if you get to that flatline, no man's land feel, you are going into the level of divine surrender. You are detaching, and you are in that in-between space, okay, to where you haven't found the next reference point, but I guarantee you the next reference point will anchor you more into the heart space of your own divinity, not based on human emotion, based on the truth of who you are, right? So if you're hearing us do this happy dance, don't let it discourage you. If you're the flat line, congratulations. If you're not even at the flat line yet, don't worry. You're coming to that space. So just remember, we're in all different spaces as we go through this experience, right? And there's no right or wrong, good or bad. You're right where you should be. So I just wanted to add that, Lorraine, because I know if I was in that flatline space and I heard two people like you and I talking about the happy dance, because I know when I was in it, girlfriend, I was like, oh my gosh.
It's not fun. It's not fun. And there could be this tendency to compare where our individual journey is compared to others. And I think this is a very important point to make too. We should not compare. I don't want to should on us, but when we compare ourselves to others, we suffer. And one of the things about this ascension process is that there is a bazillion ways to do it. We are each doing it in our own way. There is no right or wrong way. We may see other people who seem to be out and ahead and doing it, but again, like you said, Dorian, we just know where we're at and honor where that is, and just know that there's something coming in if you are in that area of, like some people report being depressed or just driving down the road bawling. I had waves of that recently too. And we just, we continue and we move it out. We're being that detached vessel from the human condition so we can be clean and pure.
Absolutely, and there's so many things we think we've processed through, and there's so many layers. I mean, guys, so many of us are not just old souls, we're ancient souls. We're ancient souls, and there's a lot that we've cleared out to get us to where we are, so be proud of yourself for even where you are. Even with all the little road bumps and hiccups, we all have it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all these old emotions may come up, but like you said, we're all at different stages, but we're getting there. And you know what I found out a long time ago? You can't force anything to happen. You can't. What you have to do is allow. Okay, we can't force us to, I want skills, gifts, and abilities like so-and-so. That's not going to happen, but what we can do is allow. And one of the biggest programs we have is not allowing, and we're going to work on that today, because, you know, I always do work when I'm on one of your shows. And so when we're not allowing or we're not available to the universe, okay, it's a sabotaging program. So allowing is the key. It's not even giving permission. It's even deeper than that. It's allowing yourself to step into the fullness of who you are, right? And so one of the biggest programs is the fear of your own power. All of us have it.
Yes.
We
yes.
all have it. We have the fear of being seen, being heard, which makes us vulnerable, because think of how many lifetimes we had where we've been harmed for being a healer or been harmed for being spiritual, just been harmed, period. Mm-hmm. And so there's always that human. Remember, we're running through the human filters here. And the human filter always has this fear mode in there. I need to hide. I need to hide because if I'm seen or heard, I might be harmed. And then when we get through that, we go, okay, now I can be seen and heard, then we're fearful of our own power. And so it's some of the deeper programs that we're all trying to clear through as we throw our paddle in our divine destiny stream and let our boat turn around and let that stream just take us down our divine destiny stream into divine surrender, which means we're just surrendering to our own divinity, right? And it's very hard because it's a push and tug. It's a push and pull. There's an incongruency. One part of us goes, yes, go for it. And the other part's going, no, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yes, I know. It's like, it's like when we talk about having mentors and people to help us along, it's kind of like sometimes we need someone to help us kick ass, so to speak, or to like step into our power. And again, that's the work that you do in your private sessions and all of it. And I love that metaphor, Dorian, that you used, because even though we're in that boat floating down that stream, we still have a paddle. And that paddle can go next to the boat in the back and steer us, kind of like our consciousness steers us. So it's important to steer the consciousness away from distractions, but not to cling and force too much or paddle upstream, right? So I love that metaphor.
Yeah, because you know what? We all been paddling upstream for so long. What is my purpose? What am I here to do? Am I doing it right? It's like, throw the paddle out, man. Just let the current turn your boat around and take you down. Because like I said, I learned a long time ago, we can't force anything. And guys, I'm going to tell you this right now. You've got innate internal codes that are going to turn on no matter what when you get to a certain space and time. They're just going to turn on. I know that. And we can do activations and all kinds of cool things, to help spur those on, whatever. But honestly, you may be living in a cave and you've never had any influence by outside teachers, and you may not know even what an activation is. And in that cave, you're going to have that code turn on. So, do is just, get more into this, I'm okay, right where I am. Don't compare, like Loren said, and just let it happen. So that allow program, we're going to work on at the end of the program today, about being able to allow yourself to really step into that fullest and highest potential of who you are in your truth, what you came here to do with all your skills, gifts, and abilities.
Beautiful. Okay. So for those who are new to Dorian, you are in for a spectacular treat in this call and this episode. So I want to give a little preface to you, and I also want to talk about your latest work. There's something you're calling the Holographic Bio-Film, and let's talk about that. What is that? Okay,
Goddess. So, we all know about our toxic environment today. I mean, I could give you statistic after statistic about what's happening, but The thing is that we know we're in a very toxic environment. And the beauty of this is that, you know, in a sense, even with all this toxic stuff going on, there's a program that's allowing us or helping us. It's almost like pushing us to move forward through all this stuff that's happening on the planet. So I'm going to give you some facts about what I'm working with. But in my own health, okay, so Lorraine, you know this. In 2015, I went over to Portugal to be with Dr. Greer. It was an amazing experience. But when you go to one of Dr. Greer's things, you have to understand there's a lot of outside forces. It's not a spiritual thing, okay? Because there are a lot of people that are just curiosity seekers that aren't even on a spiritual path. But long story short, I had this amazing download. Some beings came in. Dr. Greer actually allowed me to channel these beings, and I wouldn't let anybody know who I was. I wanted to be anonymous. You know, sometimes you just want to did something, and nobody knows who you are. Well, it didn't happen. But anyway, so, you know, these beings came through or whatever. But at that time, many, many lifetimes, I've had a code within me. And that code was to kill me, literally, if I ever got to a certain level of consciousness. Well, during that trip, I was having a huge opening within myself. Huge. This is when I really started going way past past lives, all the way to the beginning of creation. And it just expanded my work. But that's when they decided to flip on the code. And bam. And within a week, I was down and out. I was being ripped out of the body. I was struggling to stay in the body. I was extremely sick. I couldn't work for 6 weeks. I had vertigo, and all this stuff. And then all these things started happening. So then, so from one thing led to another, and so it led me to looking for solutions. It said, okay, I need to look at what's happening in the physical body, because on the etheric, I beat it. This is the first lifetime since this thing was installed in me that they couldn't kill me. I mean, and so 3 weeks before I went to Portugal, I heard this: you have a divine dispensation. The universe is giving you divine dispensation. I went, great. What does that mean? Well, then I realized what it meant was, this time they can't kill you, but they absolutely made me suffer. This whole program made me suffer. So as I was looking to try to heal all parts of me, including my body, I started, you know, looking into different aspects of ourselves. And me being from, I was a paralegal for many, many years, and then I went into being a medical esthetician. I had a lot of medical knowledge, and I started saying, okay, I feel like I've been unplugged. My body feels fatigued, and then everybody's going, oh my gosh, I got chronic fatigue. I've got brain fog. I mean, client after client, I'm going, okay, what's going on here, right? What's going on? What is going on here? Besides epigenetics. Now, everybody knows epigenetics, or maybe you don't know. With epigenetics is showing that in gene research, they have proven that 1%, maybe 5%, some doctors are saying 1 to 5, most of them are saying 1%, of our problems are genetic. Only 1%. That's nothing. And that the rest of it is about epigenetics, your environment, the toxins, your in your food and your water, your thought processes, your negativity, your stress levels, right? And so I'm going, man, if only 1%, because, you know, I'm all about clearing genetic lineage. I'm all about going in to where you are in your mother's womb, okay? It's been proven that in your third trimester is when you really start picking up stuff from mom. But I believe it starts from the minute that you start being conceived in that womb, that you start taking on her worries, her frustrations, the I'm not wanted, you know, because maybe mom was was like not ready for you, okay?
Yeah.
So we're picking up all this stuff, but you got to remember, in third trimester, from the time you're in third trimester to you're 7 years old, you're in a high alpha theta state. What does that mean? You're in a hypnotic trance. You're absolutely in a hypnotic trance. You are in this place where you're like a sponge and you're sponging up everything that's happening to you, everything in your world. Is it safe, not safe? You're picking up mother, father, preacher, teachers' belief systems, and we end up not even knowing who we are because we are programmed according to others' belief systems. So we have all these things going on, right?
Yes.
They've proven that when we come through the vaginal birth canal, okay, it's where we really get our mitochondria. So guys, you're carrying your mother's mitochondrial DNA. Mitochondria has a DNA just like your own human DNA, like your cells, the DNA that you have. So for many of us who weren't born vaginally, okay, we're not getting the mitochondria that we need, okay, from birth. So now, just as a side note, what's happening on the planet for some doctors, it's just starting, that if a woman has to have a C-section, they will take the vaginal secretions and just swipe it all over the child, especially in the face, so that the child can swallow it, because it's the mitochondrial DNA that really gives us that blueprint. That first year that we're born is really what determines our adult fingerprint in human form. So after I'm looking at all this, I'm going, okay, we got to go back. We got to go back. We got to go back to the mitochondria here. Because remember, yeah, we're changing, we're shifting, we're eventually going to go to light body, but I believe we've got to get our body in the same frequency as our soul so that we can carry this illuminated part of who we are. That's what ascension is. And it's not going to do us any good to be in a decrepit body trying to bring in the higher levels of consciousness. So I'm going, okay, the body's supposed to rejuvenate every 7 years, right? It's supposed to rejuvenate every 7 years. And there are parts of us that when we look at it, we're not really doing it, are we? We're not really, not on the level that we should be able to do. So, we've got parts of our body that are just not cooperating. Does that make sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're not. I'm trying to find my statistics here. I don't know what I did with them. But, for instance, let's just say the skin actually rejuvenates every 14 days. All right, so why are we looking in the mirror going, I got wrinkles on my skin? Yeah, we're being bombarded on this planet with toxins. Our colon rejuvenates every, 2 to 3 days. Let me try to remember this. Our lungs rejuvenate every 2 to 3 weeks. Our stomach every 2 to 9 days. So our liver is brand new every 5 months. So why are we not shifting, right? So I went, okay. So I looked into the mitochondria. Now, for those who don't know what the mitochondria is, the mitochondria are the battery packs to your cells, okay? So the mitochondria are extremely important. And I want to get into a little statistics there so people understand it. So what I did was I looked into the mitochondria and I went, oh, well, no wonder. No wonder we are not reprogramming the way we should on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, 7-year basis. It's because our mitochondria are programmed after who we are right now, after our belief systems, after our negativity, after our stressors, after all the, the junk that's in our environment. They're programmed to work with the microbiome, which are the gut, which are the microbes, the fungi, the bacteria, everything that comprises our gut and our body. We're actually a living organism. We have more microbiota and microbiome, which is these microbes, these bacteria, these fungus, than we do human cells. And they're all programmed to the old paradigm. They're all programmed to the human condition. They're programmed to your belief systems, to your thought forms, to your negativity, to your stress levels. So they don't have a chance, right? Even with our foods, do you know that when you eat organic, they can still find pesticides in your body 20 years later, even after eating organic for 20 years? So I went, okay, so how can we change this? So all of a sudden the universe showed me, says, okay, well, you know what? We're really living in a holographic universe, and if everything was beautiful and perfect, we could holographically, bring in that state of beauty, health, and perfection into the body. But a lot of us are not there yet. Maybe there's some on the planet that are, but most of us are not. So what can we do? So it showed me that the holographic biofilm is actually a blueprint and schematic of who you are in your divine state of divinity, beauty, health, and perfection. And we can put it on. We can put it over us, just like a film, like the biofilm. That's what the universe told me to call it. And we can put it on, and we can start, because what it is a template that's showing your microbiota, your mitochondria. It's showing this is who you are. This is your perfection. Let me reprogram you. Okay? So we're still doing our work. But what it does, it's like a new computer program that's reprogramming the programs of the mitochondria. See? It's reprogramming. It's giving a schematic blueprint to the mitochondria in your body to say, okay, you've been programmed after all these bad things, all these labels, all this stress, all this stuff. So you don't know what to do because you just got to keep reprogramming after that same program because it doesn't have a new program to go by. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So now we're giving it a new program. That's simple.
On a cellular level, on a mitochondrial level, okay? When we hear that the old earth is literally within us, it's in our muscles, it's in our cells, cellular memory, this is the new program. Fascinating.
This is the program of your perfection. This is the program of who you are in your soul's innocence. Okay? We're all trying to get back to our soul's innocence in so many ways. It's really, if you look at it, it's like, oh my God, I've played this program, I've done this past life, blah, 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 blah. And what we're trying to do is really get rid of it all and say, who really am I? Let me just bring all that beautiful, true spark of my divinity forward. And then, therefore, you're healing the body, too. Because remember, this is how I see the body, guys. I mean, this is all, guys, this is my viewpoint, right? This is, my truth is my truth. Your truth is your truth. And my truth is, I always realized a long time ago that whatever my truth is now, it's going to change. I mean, I'm going to see something even greater and grander because if you stay stuck in a truth, you're never going to find the real truth of who you are, right? So my truth is I see the body. I mean, this is a planet that we are experimenting on. Okay, so are we holographic beings? Absolutely. Are we infinite beings of light? Absolutely. But when we play this game on this planet, we were in a human form that hurts, bleeds, and dies. And this is what we're doing on this planet now, is trying to change all that. We're trying to change it back to where we can become more holographic beings. We can go to light, body, and form. This is part of the big experiment. So as I see the body, I see it as a separate entity that has its own karmic contracts. Because believe it or not, and this may sound strange to some people, and believe me it did when I first saw it, there are bodies on this planet that don't have a soul. My belief system was always that when you died, it's because your soul left the body, and the soul is what gave it life. But let me tell you something. There are some bodies on this planet that don't have souls. And I was shocked when I first saw that. But the thing is that the body gave us an opportunity as a soul to come in, right? Because we play many games. We've been galactic. We've been out of form. We've been in form. So the body has made these contracts with your soul to play out these games. So if your soul has these contracts and there's still in that little part of you that incarnates lifetime after lifetime, that soul's going to bring in some of those contracts. Don't you think? Yeah. Okay? And so what happens is the soul clicks it in, just like me. How could they take me out from a virus lifetime after lifetime? It was a secret little hidden program in my soul that every time that little piece of my soul goes from lifetime to lifetime, it carries it with it. So lifetime after lifetime, they could absolutely take me out, right? So the body has made these contracts, and we're going to work with this at the end too. We're going to clear these out. The body has made these contracts with the soul. So when we come in, think about it. You're on the other side, and you go, all right, I was really wealthy in a lifetime, and I really want to know what it's like to be on their side, so I'm going to be in this real poverty, whatever, and, go through this and go through that, and the body goes, okay, I'll play that game out with you. Okay? So one of the things we need to really do is break the oath, vows, and contracts with the body. Because because the body's still saying, all right, so let me give an example for people who have a weight problem. Okay, a lot of people have a weight problem. Many, many times when you've had a weight problem, you have actually had a lifetime where you were starving, near starvation, malnourished, extremely poor, imprisoned where you didn't have food, whatever it may be. And what happens is when we go to take our last breath in these other lifetimes, we make a soul contract and say, oh my gosh, I will never do this again. Okay, no, I'm not doing this again. I will never have another lifetime like this. So you come into this lifetime and you may come in already chunky. You might already have a weight problem as a child. Or you may have a trigger later on where all of a sudden you start having a weight problem. And then you go on a diet. And then the diet, you start to diet, and the diet, you're going along on this diet, and all of a sudden you lose, 3, 4, 5 pounds. This is great. And all of a sudden, bam, you can't lose any more. Why? Because you have a deathbed decision with your body that says, I will never let you starve again. I will never let you starve again. So that program's there. So then you start trying to diet. And the body goes, no, you're losing weight. This is scary. You could end up losing too much weight and you could starve. No, I'm not going to let this happen. So it's just an example of what we have with our body. So we got a lot to look at when you come to really clearing things. But the mitochondria, the battery packs of the cell, the microbiome, which are all the bacteria that comprises you as an organism. In fact, we're more bacteria than we are human, if you look at it. Guys, get on some of these health docuseries that are out there. I mean, you've got people like Jonathan Otto, Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Sanjay. I mean, there's the whole health revolution out there. Ocean Robbins. All these people are talking about the microbiome. They're not saying too much about the mitochondria, but it's all interrelated. So how can we start shifting this? How can we be in the world but not of the world, like Jesus said? Right? How can we shift? So when Jesus talked about, I remember, I grew up as a Christian and I was a charismatic, minister. I remember saying, oh, this is a parable. One of Jesus' parables is saying, you can't put new wine into old skins because the skins will burst. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That's logical. So what's so profound about that? What he's really talking about is now. It's talking about is how do we shed the old skins so that we can put the new wine, the skins, the old skin's our body, the new wine is our consciousness. How can we shed the old skin, create new skin so we can bring in the new wine, right? So this is part of it because even though we're energetic beings, even though we are sending, so much in our consciousness, we've got to do it in the body as well. I really believe personally we're not going to truly see light body until we can get the body in the equal vibration to our consciousness, to our soul. That's just my belief system. From what I'm seeing.
Yes, fascinating.
Yeah, so this biofilm is one of those things that everyone can use. You don't need me for it. You don't need anybody else for it. And so when it's like a gift. And so when I help you put it on today, it's for you to look at, examine, and you go, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm doing. Guys, it's self-intelligent. All you have to do is go, Dorian put that biofilm on me 3 days ago from Lauren Gailey's show. So, you know what? Let's sense into it, feel it, touch it, smell it, whatever. And I can't feel anything. But you know what? It's been 3 days. Maybe I'll put a new one on because it's constantly upgrading. It's on the third level since it appeared to me. It's like it's upgraded 3 times since it appeared to me.
Okay. And so, it's with our consciousness that we put this on, right? And so it's with the intention.
It's just the intention. Because guess what? It's like the universe going, here, guys, here's a gift. All right? But you need to understand what it's doing. See, this is why, I thought, okay, well, let's do some facts and figures here. Let's see, what is it doing? But if you really, we don't have to even get into that. But what if you do is, if you don't really understand mitochondria, Google it. If you don't understand microbiome, Google it. And I'm going to tell you, they're all interconnected, just like they're interconnected with your stem cells. That's the big thing, guys. You know that. I mean, here in Florida, I'm very careful. I'm not using the word stem cells. I'm saying energy cellular renewal because Florida is horrific. In fact, they're suing the #1 stem cell researcher who lives in South Florida. They're suing her. FDA, driven by Big Pharma, is suing her in June to try to make her cease and desist doing stem cell. You can't even do Reiki here in Florida, guys. It's against the law unless you're a massage therapist. And I've had friends that were run out of the state of Florida in order to keep their Reiki. So it's tough. So I'm not even using that, but that's exactly what it is. And they're all interrelated. So, all right, so say you go and get your shoulder and you get some stem cells in your shoulder, and it helps, right? It really helps. But the rest of your body is toxic to the max. You got 5 autoimmune diseases. But your shoulder's better. Okay, so we know that stem cells are being used for orthopedics a lot on the planet, right? I mean, the
knees.
Knees, it's orthopedics. But you got to understand, okay, so state of Texas is the first state in the nation to make it a law that you as a human can give your own stem cells, which is in the adipose tissue, which is your fat, which plenty of us have, enough to spare. And what they do is they spin it out of the fat and they put it back in. But you got to understand, you're putting in your old stem cells. So if you're 60 years old, you're putting in 60-year-old stem cells. But if you go to manipulate it, because stem cells can replicate themselves. They're called daughter cells. When a stem cell replicates itself into a daughter cell, that daughter cell makes itself into another stem cell, but it can also make itself into another specific stem cell, like a bone stem cell or a heart muscle stem cell. Okay? If there's any replication at all, it's illegal in the United States. If you bank your own stem cells, which a lot of people are doing, that they're trying to do, it's still not legal, even though a lot of people are doing it, right? So what can we do? Energetically, let's start using stem cells. And some people are starting to do that. But when I do it, I do full body. Okay? I don't go just for an orthopedic. What I do is I talk with my client. What are all your symptoms? What is your autoimmune? Where are you having pain? Where are you having are you having anxiety? And I go into the whole body and go, okay, number 1, let me look at your mitochondria. Let me look at your microbiome. Okay, guys, they're saying the gut is the brain. The gut is the only organ that does not need a signal from the brain to function. All other organs do. In fact, the gut signals the brain. So now they're proving the gut is what's having a lot to do with the modern day diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, MS, cancer, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So when we look at it, we have to look at all of it. We have to look at where is your condition, what conditions your mitochondria in, what conditions your microbiome in, what are your belief systems, what are your fears, okay? What's still going on in your whole consciousness, right? It's because remember everything's about a belief system here too. Right? So some people don't get a benefit from stem cells. They don't at all. And many people have to have, like Mel Gibson was on one of his interviews, and he went down to Panama, and he had to have several stem cells to help his shoulders. So for some people, so why wouldn't it work So we got to go into the underlying level and think, why wouldn't it work? Stem cells are stem cells. You have them in all parts of your body. If you didn't have them, you'd be dead in an hour. So why isn't it working? So the beautiful part of this is the holographic biofilm is a companion to the energy cell renewal. It all works together. If the stem cells are struggling, the mitochondria and the microbiome are struggling. If the microbiome and the mitochondria are struggling, then you're not going to get the benefit that you would normally get. What happens to those beautiful stem cells that are put in the body, and all of a sudden they're just knocked for a loop again from everything else? So that makes sense?
Yes, it really does. It's amazing. It's actually quite amazing. Okay, well, so how are we to identify the contracts within the body, or do we not need to pay attention to that when we are working with this holographic biofilm?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I think one of the deepest parts of us, that are resistant to anything, whether it's energetic or 3D. Okay, I mean, when I say 3D, if you have an energetic stem cell put in versus going to a doctor and having a stem cell put in, what is the resistance? And the resistance can be these contracts within the body. This is one of the things I do. I go in and go, oh my gosh, you've got 5 irrevocable contracts that you've imposed on yourself. Why? I don't know. Oh my gosh, you're an ancient being, so let's go in and see what we can break. Let's see what we can modify. A lot of them are group agreements we've been in. One of the big things is our pre-birth agreement, so let me explain this. When you were on the other side creating this lifetime, remember that everything's a rollover. If you talk to most past life regressionists, they'll tell you 90% of the stuff you're dealing with in this lifetime is a rollover. I believe it's 100%. So if you're rolling over the same thing over and over and over every lifetime, you on the other side are programming your lifetimes based on all that data. And so who are you now? We're not the same souls we were when we made these contracts based on our old programming when we were making this lifetime up for ourselves. So breaking these, which we're going to do today, breaking these pre-birth agreements have sabotaged us and stuck us into like a hamster wheel loop, along with our life lessons and life experiences that no longer serve us, because you're not the same soul you were when you were over on the other side. You've shifted, you've changed, you've grown, you've evolved, you've fallen back more in love with yourself. So this is one of those hamster wheel programs that keep us going, oh my God, how many times do I have to learn this lesson? Right? It's those pre-birth agreements. Same thing with your mother's mitochondria. Think about it. If we do ancestral lineage work, which I do, and I go in and I go, okay, let's clear everything that's not your mother's, blah, 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 blah. Okay, what about her mitochondrial DNA? You don't think there's not some lineage in that? Because she got it from her mother got it from her mother. And so I started clearing everybody's mother's mitochondrial DNA so that you can have an open space to have your own mitochondrial DNA based on the truth of who you are. You're not your mother. You're not your grandmother. But we've carried that. We've carried that through eons of human existence. Remember, we're talking about the human form. So think about, basically if you think about things, the soul has its programming. So I clear the junk out of the soul's memory banks, because there was a time when we used to come down here with our full soul. We could come down here full soul. We could come in a body with 5 souls in it. That's where you find a lot of savants like Leonardo da Vinci and others like that.
Oh, but wow.
5 souls. So there's so we used to be able to we were expanded, right? But now we have such a dense planet that you and I and all these others are trying to clear out. We've got all these huge morphic fields. Now, for those who don't understand a morphic field, everything has a morphic field. Everything. Every belief system, every disease, every, judgment's a morphic field. Everything's a morphic field. So what we're really doing on so many levels is we're chipping away at these morphic fields and creating new ones so that all of humanity can start stepping into these new morphic fields. Okay? So clearing your mother's mitochondrial DNA, clearing the contracts with the body, clearing those pre-birth agreements, going into that part of you that's not allowing, going into the part of you that's unavailable, going into that part of you that doesn't feel like you have any authority. So one of the first ladies I did this with, she's like, well, I don't know how to work with my biofilm. I mean, who says I'm good enough or whatever? I said, there you go. See, you don't have, you're not standing in your authority. You're not standing in your authority with that. So clearing out these old programs that say you don't have any authority. Who do you think you are? You don't. What do you mean? Work with your own biofilm? You can't do that. Oh, absolutely you can. It's your birthright. It's your divine birthright to declare and decree that all that is divinely and rightfully yours manifests into your reality with ease, grace, and joy. It's your birthright to stand in the perfect state of beauty, health, and being. It's your birthright to be abundant. It's your birthright to be in well-being. Absolutely. So, this is part of the spiritual part, the part that we're working with that says, can we use that? Because it's available.
Beautiful. It is available, and it is liberating us from the old programs, literally on a cellular level. Okay. Well, Dorian, It just sounds wonderful. I mean, it's great. If there's any questions on this, if you're listening in our audience and you've got a question, please, you can chat that in to Dorian. But I think right now, let's go right into that. It's so fascinating.
Okay. All right. So what we want to do here is we clear those mind sleep programs. Now, guys, remember this. Anytime you're working with anybody or doing your own work, if all of a sudden you get pulled off course, or a lot of times if you're working on something or you're meditating and you get this interruption or resistance, it can be a mind sleep program. So you have the authority, because we're going to help you get that authority today. You have the authority to clear that mind sleep program. So let me just go in, everybody. Take a breath. Yeah, take a nice breath. Infinite intelligence is on the breath. So every time we take that nice, deep breath, we're doing many things to help our body oxidate itself, but we're also bringing in that infinite intelligence which resides innately within you. Okay, perfect. That's looking better. Now, let's go into I'm Not Allowed. It's the deepest program, deeper than not giving yourself permission. And let's start clearing this I'm Not Allowed. Now, where does it come from? From many different places. But first of all, you've been told you're not allowed. Even as a child in this lifetime, mom says, no, 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 no. But all lifetimes, there have been places in your consciousness where that's been placed to say you're not allowed, even with all your head knowledge. And also we've been telling ourselves that we're not allowed. So we've been told by others, and we've told ourselves, and they become these humongous programs that block us like a roadblock. All right. So I'm just looking in. Let me gather everybody up again. A few people trailed off. So I'm calling back in. Present time, here and now. Here we go. So let's go after all these old unallowing programs. So we're not going to go into a whole lot of stuff here, but one of the big things that's coming up right now is deathbed decisions. There are quite a few coming up for everybody. I can see them. So let's go in and let's break all your deathbed decisions that you have ever created for yourself that are still sabotaging you in any space, okay? So all your deathbed decisions. Okay, so here's some bleed over here, guys. We have parallel lifetimes. Remember, all time is simultaneous time. If you don't understand that, that's okay. You can think of it as past lives until you can get to the awareness of simultaneous time. But because your parallels are running along, okay, that's your own simultaneous lifetimes. But you also have parallels of other aspects of you out there running parallels. If you guys don't understand this, go on Netflix and go to the old TV show called Fringe, F like in Frank, R-I-N-G-E. It will help you understand it. Okay? What can happen is, because this is an aspect of you out there doing something slightly different, they can bleed into your world, into your reality, and they can sabotage you and put you back in a space of something you've already cleared. So let's break those oaths, vows, contracts, promises, pledges, agreements, pacts, obligations, group agreements, soul agreements, ancestral and blood lineage agreements with all aspects of you, putting a barricade up between you and other aspects of you so that they can go on and do what they need to do and you are not sabotaged by them. So let's clear the bleed over. And also what this does is it creates a freedom door, because what happens is that aspect many times goes, oh, look what Dorian's doing. I love it. She's gotten free from this, and I don't want to be in that anymore, so I'm just going to walk to her freedom door. It's one way of getting all your aspects back in one unified field. Okay, so we're going to do that. Everyone take a breath. And let's do a happy dance, because I tell you what, it's really good not to be sabotaged by your other aspects of self. Okay, because they bring a lot of these not allowing programs in. So we're breaking those death by decisions. You don't need them. You don't need them anymore. So let's open your space. Let's just keep opening that space. Now, there's a lot of resistance here, because what happens is we start going into fear. And it comes through the human filter. Remember, the fear is coming through the human program. So there's a lot of things that can create that fear. Many times we're using these guys, these kinds of programs, as a protection mechanism. So look at it that way when you're working. Is this being used to protect me? In the meantime, while it's protecting me, it's also sabotaging me. Okay. So we can't just strip protection programs away from you, because the human psyche will freak. So what we want to do is bring in the highest enlightened awareness of your soul, okay, in your own unconditional love, your truth, your power, your presence, your peace, your certainty, your surety, because when it comes right down to it, the key word for all of us as a human is being safe. And if we don't feel safe, we're not going to move forward. So the key word here is safe. Okay. All right. Everyone take a breath here. Kushuna plan ayanan de keseret. Isikini swing de puturi shun de ananan. Laran kisa patan isikipiri idamono shot. Planan anesenikine ene puronon. All dimensions. Asawana, asikirirut. Asawana. Asawana means it's like having a beautiful, precious, unconditional love mother that has that love for you, holding you in her arms and saying everything's going to be all right, baby. It also can mean quit your bawling and squalling, put your big girl or big boy panties on, and keep moving forward. But right now it means, I love you. Here it is. It's the gift, okay, that you're receiving through that unconditional love. So asawana, please use that anytime you want, because that's what it means. Asawana. So when you get into anxiety or depression or whatever, asawana. And just repeat it, asawana. Perfect. Let's go in and clear your pre-birth agreements. We're on a hamster wheel with these pre-birth agreements. Let's just clear them. Okay, so, yeah, if you still have some that serve you, yeah, we're not going to get rid of those because you need them. Something you set up. But everything that was based on who you were, because you are not that soul anymore, let's clear them out. And let's clear out all the life experiences and life lessons that you set up to go along with those pre-birth agreements. You don't need them any longer. And let's open your space so that you can step into that beautiful space of your truth and create from that now, from this day forward. So let's clear them out. They don't belong to you anymore. Okay. So there's some resistance here too. Monkey minds are going. Guys, remember, we're not clearing anything that you need. We're only clearing things that you don't need. So let's clear all those old labels and identities and belief system around it, because there are some labels and identities that say, oh, I still need that. Well, those are just labels and identities and stories that you've played by, you've been programmed by. Let's clear that out. Okay. Now, what I'm doing is just helping you, because honestly, I could put a biofilm on somebody and you're not going to get near the benefit if you have some of this in there. Can it work? Yeah, it works. Because it'll help start changing, but this is going to help change it faster. So when you use your blueprint, your biofilm, you don't have the other, computer terms. You don't have the trash or the cookies or whatever that's in there that you have to get rid of first. That's what we're doing now. So let's go in and clear your mother's mitochondrial DNA. This is not your DNA, your helixes of DNA. This is your mitochondria. See, mitochondria, which is the battery packs to your cells, and we didn't go into a lot of facts about it, has its own DNA, okay? So it's different than what you think of your helix DNA. It's not the same. But the mitochondria has its own DNA, and it's programmed after your mother's mother, and go on down the line. So let's clear the mitochondrial DNA so that your mitochondria, your battery pack in your cell, doesn't have to be burdened by anything that came through your lineage or through your mother, okay, so that your mitochondria can expand and it can flourish and it can proliferate and it can renew itself based upon the truth of who you are in this very moment and as you keep shifting. Oh, that's beautiful. Everybody feel that calm? Yeah, there's a nice, calm. Yeah, that nice, peaceful, calm. Like I felt like I was talking in a frenzy, and I do that a lot of times when I work with clients, and all of a sudden it just. Let's also clear the contracts with your body. The body has been an amazing thing for us to incarnate in down on this planet, lifetime after lifetime, in other body forms in other lifetimes, right? We can be in other forms. Maybe we were Syrian or whatever. If we've had any kind of form, it's been called a body. And we've made a lot of contracts to suffer and to be punished because we were carrying these punishment patterns, and the body's just there going, okay, I'll work with you, soul, whatever you need to learn. And so let's just break those contracts with the body, because the body is bound through those contracts. So let's just break all oaths, vows, contracts, promises, pledges, agreements, pacts, and obligations that we've ever made, all the way back to the very beginning of your existence, the day that you stepped down into the lower worlds from that beautiful, blissful consciousness, and break those contracts with the body and let it go. Nice. The field's looking really, really nice. Feeling that calm. Feeling that calm. Okay. And let's one more thing. Let's check into, do you really have the authority? Are you standing in the belief system that you have authority to dictate, to command, to choose even, that simple word of choice? Do you really have that authority in your life, period? Do you have the authority to really declare and decree abundance and well-being of your life? Do you really have the authority to really use this biofilm and allow it to work? Because let me tell you something, it works. I do case studies. I've been doing a case study on this. I never present something that does not work for others and for myself, and it works. Just do you believe it? So let's just start dismantling, sponging, and I want to completely dismantle and sponge any reinstall, reset, reprogram patterns that are in your being that would bring everything back online, because we have them. Many of us have those operating in our system. It says, oh, I feel great. 3 days, this feels fabulous. And 3 days later, boom, it's gone. So many times those are those reset patterns and programs, so let's clear those out as well. Okay. So going into all incongruency. And this is just a little part of what I do when I work with somebody with stem cells. That's why I have a two-part protocol when I do it. I clear, and then I use the cellular renewal, reinstall the biofilm if you already have one. So it's a process, and then I track you for a month, sometimes 2. Okay, there we go. All right, so there's some jurisdiction coming here, and that's not uncommon. All of us have had jurisdictional or what I call adjudication. Adjudication is a legal term. That means it's almost like it's been proclaimed from a legal, like a court, upon you. So any adjudication and jurisdiction that's operating in your field. We have irrevocable contracts. We're not going to go into all that, but we have a lot of stuff that could stop us from really getting the fullest potential out of what we're doing with any energy work that we're doing. Excuse me. I call that an energy belt. Excuse me. It's usually a yawn. Okay. Okay. So there's some tones coming through. Dark forces of love, they use tones to bind us up. So there's a frequency going on at a high-pitched level. I'm not being told to tone this out. Sometimes I do. There's this frequency that's toning that out. So let's clear that out. And there are a few symbols coming out, too. Remember, guys, we're bound by old religious belief systems. That's another thing we look at. Okay, self-denial is a big one when it comes to the religious belief systems. Okay, so we're going to clear that out. All right, now we're starting to look clear. Now you're starting to look clear. Everyone just take a breath. Let's just give it a few minutes here. Things are shifting, changing, dismantling, reintegrating. Some of you might have felt that even before we got on the session. It's been happening most of the day. There we go. Now, let's call in the holographic biofilm. This is a perfect, divine, this is your perfect, divine schematic and blueprint of who you are in your divinity, in your state of beauty and health and perfection and self-empowerment. And let's put that over each one of you to come in and start changing and reprogramming of you. Now, we're talking about a cellular level. It's really deeper, and I don't know how to explain that. It's deeper than what you think of as your own human cellular DNA. It's going through all aspects on a multidimensional level. So we're talking about going down into the soul's memory banks, the DNA, the cellular memory, the human consciousness, the cosmic consciousness. I have no clue what all this can do. I can be honest with you. It presented itself to me for the body, but it said, stay tuned. It upgrades itself, and it's much more than that. So as I learn, I will let everybody know what this does, more than what it is. So right now, just trust, have faith, and know that it is yours. Nobody controls it for you. You do. So it's just as simple as anything going, oh, maybe I should change my biofilm, okay, and just put a new one on. Because what happens with the biofilm, it reprograms, but it also can soak up toxins. It can soak up, when I say toxins, we're talking about all kinds, emotional, mental, all kinds. So it soaks up stuff, too. So that's why it's good to check in. And if you don't have a clue, just take it off and put a new one on. Okay, there we go. Yeah, all dimensions, time and space. Everyone take a breath. All right, one more breath. Allowing for the infinite possibilities of what you can start creating in your body and in your space and in your consciousness with this holographic biofilm that's yours. It's your schematic. It's your blueprint. It's all based on the truth of who you are. And that is the beauty of it. That now here's a new tool for each of you to use on a daily basis to exemplify and glorify, rectify, heal your life on so many levels. All right, so I'm going to speak to the soul here. Purin asanda keperiat. Alani seket ishu sonam anani kanan. Zip pri and ainan de bekainis sentet. Delini sekataponin lang dikisini ishu kotosend punen and anayand. Preka swoon. Yeah, he said and the anon. Pisiketushini isapotul lalananekanan ikisinet. Buin da kanet. Bring kasanosonen. Ai, upikat. Ikiteni sandat. Kilidi susut. Prisapatana namonta. Ideni sin. And alalanakito patane oshononon. So those were things you were just giving. Bisiputun has an animal karat. Papuin. Esaninda mulani soda sekeri anasana magariata. Akapetiron lananekisi senete sandan anibakudishisin iminit. So let me explain something. When I work with people, I work in many different dimensions, and I work with a lot of different dimensional spaces that open up. We've had 6 of them open up here. Some of those spaces I go and I see belief systems. I see the past lives or simultaneous lives. I see other things. And then one part of it is the soul. And when I get on the soul side, which we are right now, the soul, it shows up to me. I start getting in this swirl, this beautiful maroon kind of color. I go into a dark space when I'm working with people. That means we're getting to core issues, but this isn't the same. It's like this maroon, but it's dark. And all of a sudden it swirls, and like I can see you. It's like the soul is underneath your sarcophagus. It's like you're buried. And it's just all this stuff, right? What happens, it starts spinning. That energy starts spinning. And what happens is when we finally get to a space when I'm working with a client, many times the soul will come up. When I see the soul, it always comes out as a beautiful cobalt blue. Sometimes silver, sometimes gold edging, 99% of the time cobalt blue. So where we are right now is a soul level. So this is not about belief systems. This is things that have been ingrained and accepted into the soul itself. Okay. So allowing whatever needs to take place here. Take a nice breath here. Infinite intelligence is on the breath. So one last thing. Let's reconnect the heart to the head, because you're no longer the same person you were before you started this session. You've shifted, you've changed, we've been at the soul level. So let's take, I see it like wires. I just see these wires that go from the head to the heart. And when I work with someone, I can see if they're afraid. So what happens is when you have these wires properly connected, it allows that beautiful knowledge that you get in your head to drop down in your heart, and it allows your heart to start ruling your head. So let's reconnect and get you all wired back up right. Let's recalibrate your left and right hemisphere. Let's retriangulate your pituitary, your pineal, and your medulla oblongata. Let's call yourself back into present time here and now as to who you are now, because some of you did jump out of your space, and that's okay. You still got what you needed. But remember, you can't heal the body unless you're in the body, and we tend to disassociate. So let's just call y'all back in. I was calling you back in when I was working on you, but let's just bring you all back so we can do all this beautiful work here. There you go. There you are now. Wow, great unified field as like a group consciousness here for whoever's listening live and whoever will be listening to the replay. It's all like getting into that more unified field. I love it. Kisempun de kirande ka epete de sut pet pikarana an. There we go. Kisikete eri sut patu ehinen. Isipikin futu kupure anan kesananet. And so it is. All right, so everybody just take a nice deep breath, because some people have really gone off in space here. So let's just call you back, call yourself back, kind of anchor back in as we're allowing for all that deeper level work to keep going. And it will keep going in your space. Most of you will keep going through your sleep space. And I always check in. When I work with a client or work with a show, when I go to bed at night, I'm checking in as to what's going on. But try to stay in that level of calm that we've been feeling. Did you feel that, Goddess? Lorraine?
Yes. Excuse me. I am in a really altered state. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. I'm very calm. There's no worries at all.
Yes. Yeah. So that beautiful peace came in. And like I said, we were definitely at a soul level. When I finally see a soul, and it can come up beautiful. It comes up looking like a snowflake sometimes. Sometimes it's fractured, and that's okay. It's just how it's showing up, and we keep working with it till it gets more unified. Sometimes, it actually even looks like a human brain. Mm-hmm. So it can show up in any different ways. So, the biofilm can actually help that too. It's a really remarkable thing. It's showing me more and more all the time as I work with it. And then it shows how it really complements the cellular renewal work that I'm doing for the whole body. So.
Well, I call this exquisite, because this energy is just beautiful, magnificent. Now, as people move forward and integrate this and work with this, what can we expect maybe tonight, tomorrow, over the next few days?
Well, I'll just give you some of the comments I've had. I had one lady, and I'm just talking about the biofilm. I'm not talking about the cellular stuff. That's totally different. One lady said she saw her varicose veins shrinking. One lady woke up and she had what she called a blue tooth, and her tooth was blue because she had hit it as a child, and had this blue cast. It was totally white. I've had people, their anxiety just dissipated, and they've been suffering with anxiety and depression for eons of time. I've had some people's life shift in other areas, like their finances. So, like I said, there's a lot more to it. It showed up as a healing tool for our body, but it's much more. So, if we allow it to be, it will be, because it's multidimensional, isn't it? It is. It's you. It's your schematic blueprint that now you're saying, I want my schematic blueprint. So I've had that. I've had, pain, aches and pains disappear. Let me tell you what happened to me. I'm a perfect example here. Probably about 10 years ago, about 2009, I was diagnosed with something, kind of a mass on my left ovary. And so through various GYNs that I've worked with, they keep a check on it, and then honestly, I just kind of forgot about it. I just didn't get worried about any of it, right? But years later, I don't know what it was. Something was going on. I think part of the stuff that happened to me in Portugal, and they said, oh my gosh, you got this mass on your left ovary. I went, oh yeah, I remember them telling me that in 2009, right? Well, you're not supposed to have it there because, you're postmenopausal. It shouldn't be there. We need to track it. So every 3 months, I was having to track this thing. Every 3 months going in for an external and internal sonogram. Every 3 months. So one of the times they said, oh, this thing's growing exponentially. And so we need to do a CA-125, which is a cancer protein marker test. Now, my family is loaded with cancer. The majority of the people in my family have died from cancer, and I've been breaking this curse over my family. And Loren, I had those 5 cancerous brain tumors myself about 20 years ago that I cured. Holistic and naturally with energy. So I'm like, great, here we go. So long story short, I had this urgency, and so did my family, and so did my friends. You got to get it out. Get it out. Get it out now. And I felt that, and I've never felt that before, and I went, oh my gosh, okay. This was last year. So I said, okay. So I scheduled a robotic surgery, because when the CA is going up, there could be some things going on. So I scheduled it, and my husband lost his job. After 48 years, I had this big corporate, reorg and layoff of all the old-timers that had pensions, and so he lost his job. And so we lost our insurance, and COBRA didn't come through, so I said, I can't afford to pay for this thing to be taken out of me, so I'll have to reschedule. So I rescheduled, and once we got the COBRA straightened out until we could get our own individual insurance, and I started diarrhea. I never have diarrhea. This girl is not a diarrhea person. And so I had 6 weeks of diarrhea. And I went, 6 weeks. So finally I said, I had to cancel insurance again. The surgery again. Because, my electrolytes were off. I was drinking Pedialyte by the gallons and everything else. And then all of a sudden I went, I'm not doing the surgery. These are signs that something has shifted in me. And what shifted in me is when I started using the biofilm. Okay, this was before I even started the stem cell stuff. I can't tell you what's happened to me since I started the stem cell stuff. Miraculous stuff for a lot of people I work with. Some not so much because they have programs that are preventing it, right? So anyway, this last time, 3 months, it's time to go in. So I get this new girl, because they know me by name now. I'm like, oh, hi, Dorian, you're back again, We've been doing this for a long time. And so I went in, and this girl was new. I never had her before. And it usually takes, 10, 15 minutes? Well, 35 minutes later, I'm going, does this girl know what she's doing? I was getting is she new? Maybe she should have somebody. Is she just a tech? What's going on here? And so about a week later, get a call from the nurse that, from the doctor's office has been scheduling me over and over and over again, right? And she said, Dorian, are you sitting down? I said, yes. She said, it's gone.
Yay!
I said, what? She goes, it's gone.
Another miracle.
I said, are you sure she didn't miss it? And she goes, Dorian, it was so big. Come on, it's gone. And then since then, I can't tell you how many things are happening. I just can't tell you. And that's just with the biofilm. That's not even, and so once I started the cell work, the stem cell work, oh my goodness. I mean, it's just unbelievable what's happening. And, you know, with the two of them. And so, that's just my story. I mean, and then, I forgot to tell you this. They had found a 6-centimeter kidney stone, and that thing's down to less than 2 centimeters now.
Oh, well, that's good. Oh, my gosh.
So, see what it can do for the body?
Yes, and so that's the body, and again, the condition is there because of the belief systems, right, held within the body and the memories within the body. Now, so for your 6 weeks of a sensitive bowel, the diarrhea, that's like an energetic shift, right?
Yeah.
You could feel that something was actually leaving your body.
Absolutely. And I have no doubt it was right after I put on that biofilm, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I didn't, of course, I don't panic on any of it. And I'm like, this is great. I'm getting rid of all this stuff, whatever it is, you know. And then, like I said, I knew that it had shifted to the point where there was no worry about it. So I just said, forget it. I'm just going to wait until my next 3 months, and we'll see what happens. And the thing was gone. It's been there for over 10 years, but it hadn't started growing until the last year. And when it starts growing like that, that's when I get worried. That's when the doctor's like, time to get it out. Yeah. And so it's not just, you know, I got to remember too, everything goes back to a belief system, but also don't forget, we are in physical form. We're being subjected to toxins, the glyphosate. Oh, by the way, isn't that awesome that, unfortunately the guy, I don't know if people heard this, that, I think his name was Edward or Edwin, whatever, just got, what was it, 80 million, whatever, with a lawsuit with Monsanto. God bless them for having to go through it. We should never make something on this planet that was going to hurt someone else, but at least it's bringing some awareness to what's going on our planet with glyphosate and some of these other pesticides. So remember, we're being bombarded. So how can we ascend into what Jesus said, to being in the world but not of the world? The biofilm's part of that. It really is. It's part of that. It's part of that helping us to step out of it, you know, because we're working on our frequencies, right? We're working on raising ourselves above this. So we're in the world, but we're not of it. And that means taking ourselves, you know, to that higher dimensional spaces. And by the way, guys, pull everything you have into those higher realms. If you're in the 5D, pull your finances, pull your bank accounts, pull your, you know, IRAs, pull all your investments, pull everything into that higher realm. And then they're not going to be subjected to it as much on the 3D level. So if you're in the stock market and you've got all these investments, pull them in those higher realms of consciousness. Bring them into 5D, 8D, wherever you may be. And you know, there's so much we can do on the energy level. We can call back everything that we've ever had that's been taken from us and call it back in. Call the energies back in. Of all your well-being, all your health, all your finances from all your lifetimes. Bring that energy back because it's all an energy stream. So your cash flow, I'll have to do a thing with you on that. Cash flow is just an energy stream. So you have the authority to tap into that energy stream. So your biofilm is multidimensional. So you will see as you play with it, but you've got to play with it. You can't just say, Dorian, put it on me and walk away. So
Okay. Well, I just want to say that these are part of the upgrades that we are all going through. It seems that within the past 6 months, really the upgrades on all levels, not just in the physical body, but the systems, like with relationships, with for me personally, like my CPA, switch that, and just all the different business systems and finding new ways to work these systems. Those upgrades are us pulling the old into the higher dimensional framework, right? Higher dimensional perspective. And so here's the biofilm that seems like it is doing that work for us pretty much on a seamless level. I don't want to say effortless, because if we resist, it's not going to be effortless, right? But it is a multidimensional tool that we absolutely have access to. So it's beautiful. And again, Dorian, I love how you are another case in point. You've used this in your own life and it works. And it comes to you from this inner knowing, and it's multidimensional. Your higher self brought it in, your soul brought it in, the universe brought it in. It's from the conscious mind, the group, the collective higher mind of all that is. So let's talk a little bit about that, because there are a number of ways that people can work with you. Your special offer is here, and there's one option that does include the Holographic Bio-Film and the Energetic Cell Renewal. But before that, you've got a lot of these other options. So let's go over that real quick. We've got a few minutes left in our show.
Okay. All righty.
So we've got a 30-day group remote session with you.
Okay, so guys, I guinea pigged people for 2 years before I started doing this, and this is a really good option if you're very busy, or maybe you don't even have, maybe not a lot of money to spare at the moment. It's a 30-day. So what I do is I pre-scan, I'm doing this remote thing via like a scalar wave. Okay, it's kind of like a scalar thing. So I do a pre-scan, which is not even part of your 30 days. So what I do is I put everybody's name into there, and I pre-scan. So you're really being worked on 5 days before your 30 days starts. And then I put you in this master program. And it's bringing in energies from all over the universe. It's bringing in all different kinds of things. Like if Reiki needs to come in, it comes in. If my energy work needs to come in, the language of light is infused with language of light. It has all these beautiful programs, and it runs on you every single day for 30 days. So it's a beautiful way to get a lot of healing. Now, I believe in this so much, and I've seen so many people shift just with it, that I added as another package a 30-minute session with me. So after you get through with your 30-day remote, you can get just the 30-day remote. Then the second package is the 30 days plus a personal session with me after. And I found that if I do the personal session after, it's for, there's a lot that's been taken care of during the remote, and then it kind of clears these, what I call these subset programs. Many times they're just like gooey, sticky programs, and you have to battle your way through them to get to some more of the core key code issues, what I call key code issues. So that's another thing that you can do too. What else do I have there, girl? I don't remember. So that's package 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, it's wonderful because you do have a lot of variations here. So that's the 30-day group remote session. So you get the group and then the personal session. But then you've got an option with both of those broken down. So you can do the 30-day group remote session with soundtracks, or you could do a 30-minute personal session with soundtracks. So those soundtracks are powerful. Those are encoded programs that you've professionally produced. They're beautiful, actually.
Thank you. And honestly, guys, it doesn't matter when they were produced, because I have we all have codes in us. We all have key codes. But one of the things about me that I know for sure is I have a key code in me. So this key code that's within me, that anything that I've ever produced, even people have shifted just with the sound of my voice. And, there has been a prophecy that we're all going to get there. We're all going to be able to walk into a room and shift. We're all going to be able to, but I have a key code in me that whatever I produce, it upgrades. So say if you listen to one of my light codes from 2015, it's already upgraded to 2019. You don't have to worry about when it was done, right? So it's the same thing with all these soundtracks that I do. So it doesn't matter when it was done. It doesn't matter, how long it is. It's as far as length. You're having those key codes that are activated within those programs. Okay. So.
Yes, beautiful. All right. And so those options are all there on the special offer page. And then option 5 is new. And this is the fun part, because this is a deep dive with Dorian.
It's a deep dive. This is a deep dive. And I guinea pigged like I had a group of maybe 30, 35 people, and I guinea pig because I always want to be in integrity and know that this stuff can work. And so I thought, how is the best way to do this kind of cell renewal on a really deep core level? I didn't want someone just to go, oh, I felt better, but 3 days later it started to hurt again, you know. I didn't want to use it just like an energy shift. I wanted it to be a core shift. So the best way I found out was that I do a personal session, and it's a 2-part protocol. And in that personal session, I start working with the client's individualized programs. Okay, it's an individualized, right? We look straight into what's going on here. And we do a lot of clearing, shifting, recalibrating, dismantling, expunging, that kind of thing, before I ever do the quote-unquote, I call it the energy cell renewal, but it's actually stem cells. I'm using stem cells. Now, there are actually 5 different kinds of stem cells. One's, illegal. That's embryonic. That's illegal here in the U.S. But the 4 stem cells are your adipose, which is your fat, your umbilical blood plug from the cord. That's the one that they're using a lot, okay? They're using amniotic, and they're also using bone marrow. Now, bone marrow in real life is very painful. Most people know about bone marrow when it comes to cancer. So when I started using that, sometimes I pluck into that category depending on what you need. Fine. If not, I'm just using basically along with that. I'm not basing it on humans. I'm basing it on your divinity, your perfect schematic blueprint. And I'm not doing it just in, say, a shoulder joint or whatever. We're doing full body. So, for instance, if you put stem cells in the spinal cord, so you go into the back and you put it in the spinal cord and the fluid, so you're putting in the spinal fluid, it will go to the brain. Okay? So we have to know sometimes where to put it. So if you put it in the spinal cord, it goes straight to the brain. So for those who are suffering with brain fog and stuff like that, I've had people, even with the biofilm, have brain fog lift immediately, but putting it in the spinal cord. So stem cells are self-intelligent. So say you go, okay, my shoulder hurts, and we put it in the shoulder joint, but stem cells do tend to travel, and they know exactly where you need it the most. So I do intravenous stem cells because we want them all over our body. And then what happens is the universe will tell me, they need a triple batch. So understand with stem cells, it's against the law in the United States, but they can proliferate stem cells in petri dishes in the lab. And stem cells can replicate themselves as well in your body. So if all of a sudden the universe is saying, they need 3 times the stem cells, that could be 300 million cells, I don't know, right? Then that's what we do. And so you can, put it in the full body. They're using stem cells now. You hear a lot about it with orthopedic, but you're going to hear more and more when they're coming to Parkinson's, MS, Alzheimer's, dementia, cancer. It's going to explode here. It's exploded in the last 6 months. It's going to explode even more. So when I work with somebody, I take that into consideration. I also work with mitochondria. I look and see what kind of condition your mitochondria is in. What do we need to do for that? What do we need to do for the microbiome? Okay, what about your liver? Oh my gosh, almost everybody has a fatty liver anymore. So, I'll see sludge in the liver. Let's clear the liver out because everything's going to work more proficiently if we clear organs out. So I touch base into the organs. And as well as all your programs that are there. So I think it's a pretty in-depth protocol with trying to do the whole body. I've got people I'm doing stem cells straight into the eyes. Okay, so hey, macular degeneration. Now they're starting to discover, guys. Now this isn't a magic bullet. Okay, I'm going to tell you this right now. You're in human form. You need to eat properly, drink as much clean, pure water as you can, eat as more organic, take the supplements that can help heal your gut. The gut is the key. The gut's the key to everything, and they're finding out now that Parkinson's is showing up after people have had constipation as a young person. They're going way back to when you were a kid, teenager, whatever. Parkinson's from constipation. They're finding pancreatic cancer and liver cancer due to antibiotic overuse. So what I do is I put drains, and when I put these drains in somebody, it's underneath the arms, in the groin, because those are your major lymphatic systems, and at the bottom of the feet. Not so much lymphatic there, but we know we absorb and detox a lot from the bottom of the feet as well as the skin. And then we start draining that because we have what they call senescent cells. And senescent cells are where healthy cells start to go wrong. They start getting damaged. And those damaged cells then in turn damage other cells. So we use the drains, we clear out those senescent cells. I look at other areas, technical words that you guys don't understand probably or know unless you're in the medical field. But I look at these different things. And then you have codes in your body. I mean, I'm not talking about as a spiritual being. The body itself has codes. And they're finding out now that there's certain codes that are turned on that should be off, and there's certain codes that are off that should be on. So I look into those codes. So it's pretty comprehensive, girl.
Very comprehensive. Thank you for that. So that's what we mean when we go dive deep with this.
Yeah.
And this energetic stem cell. We'll call it energetic cell renewal, but you really are working with the stem cells.
Yeah, that's really what it is. Yeah.
It's beautiful. All right. Well, thank you so much for that, Dorian. Again, we're going to direct our listeners to check out that special offer right there. It's at acoustichealth.com/special offers/light language, and you will get access to all of those items. Wow. I am still feeling very calm. I'm feeling very empowered, and it almost feels like a sloughing off of a lower vibrational sludge.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Oh my goodness. And we do feel liberated. We really do. And so as we go about our day, we will see a shift from this work. This work absolutely makes us pick different choices and come up with solutions and to be inspired in new ways. So it was tremendous. And I thank you, Dorian, for bringing that here for us in this episode today. Thank you.
It's my honor and my privilege. And everybody, don't you just love Loren? Loren, I just so honor and love you. You know how I feel about you as my friend and sister goddess. And I just want to thank you again for your beautiful platform and all the opportunities that you give to so many people who are doing the work to help others as well. So thank you. I honor and bless you with my whole heart, Sister Goddess. I love you.
Oh, I love you, Dorian. You were one of the originals here on Quantum Conversations, which actually it was Healing Conversations back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day it was.
And we've upgraded to Quantum because we're in a quantum state. So I just thank you too. And actually, I thank everyone for listening to this show, because everyone who's listening is absolutely a new Earth leader, whether you know it or not, but you are. And so we honor you two for listening and for joining us. So a big hug to you, Dorian Light. Thank you, thank you, thank you for playing with us.
Big hug to you and to everyone. Thank you, everyone, for your beautiful love and support for myself, for Loren, for each other. Remember just to declare and decree, declare and decree over your life that that your divinity shows through. And I love this statement. I'm going to leave you with this. I declare and decree that all that is divinely and rightfully mine manifests into my reality with ease, grace, and joy. You know what that means? When you say divinely and rightfully, it means your birthright. It's your birthright to be in perfect harmony and balance and well-being in your life. And when you can stand in that space where you can declare and decree that over your life, things will shift. So start using 2 words on a daily basis. I allow. I allow.
We allow. I allow. Powerful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Dorian.
All right, beautiful. Love you. Love everybody. Thank you so much for this beautiful opportunity. And use your biofilms. Use it.
Yes.
breathe into it, feel into it. And if you go, well, I can't feel, that's okay. Use your intention. It's just that simple. Use your intention.
It's that simple. Yes, okay. All right. Well, everyone, use your biofilm, feel into it, and let us know what you experience and how the shift occurs for you. Thank you, Dorian Light. This has been beautiful.
Thank you, and all my love, Goddess.
Big hugs to you, Dorian. We're all giving you a big hug. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we are feeling empowered, so as we dance our way to the cosmic heart, we are going to claim those birthrights, those divine birthrights. Have fun, everyone. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.